Well, I got started in beekeeping during the Fisher Body strike on the corner of Hempel and Saginaw Street. The original strike, I was taking my brother a big pot of stuffed cabbage. He was a sit-downer. And where I parked the car, there was a swarm of bees in the grass, and I scraped them in a box and took them home, and that's where my stinging good time started. My folks were immigrants, and they came from Hungary. And we lived off in the land when I was a child. And anything you could utilize for food or help you to live, you tried to do it. And that's probably what prompted me the most, is trying to get a little nourishment for our family a little bit better. So we'd have a better standard of living. Anything you could get off in the land, you would get it.
I think I was about 11 years old when I first decided that I was going to keep bees. And the reason being was, it was kind of a mysterious hobby to everybody. Everybody was fascinated by it. So it was not unlike being a magician. We would pick up swarms of bees and people were just amazed that we could handle them without any special equipment. So it was long about that time I decided I wanted to do that as well.
Well, me as the master beekeeper, all as I want, yes sir, do it.
And what I do is whatever he tells me to do. So I do more of the climbing and the heavy lifting, and he does more of the brain work.
Well, the whole thing is to contribute to the welfare of the family. Everyone would try to help whatever they could. And you utilized everybody, and some were quite interested, and some got stung up pretty good.
Well, I have a lot of fond memories of keeping bees with my dad. I think what I remember most as a boy, working in the nuclei, we did a lot of the high-tech work with queens where we would graft larvae and graft queen cells. I just thought that was fascinating. I can remember as a teenager going to school after being all stung up where it looked like I'd been in a big fight and I had to explain to everybody, no, occupational hazard. And as an adult, I remember with my dad and all through the years taking off honey, and I have memories of when myself and my children and my dad watching 3 generations take off honey, so that was a pretty fond memory there. I've been using this pump for the last 40 some years, ever since I was 10 years old, giving these bees a drink of water. I've been watering this tree ever since I was about 10 years old. This is my tree, and it used to be about that tall, and I used to jump over top of it.
In the spring, you check them for strength and any problems. You feed mostly. Do you have a laying queen? And but the spring is like anything else. It's just beautiful when it comes to bees. They multiply and grow so well. The 15th of June, you got to demure them. That means you take all the bees, all the babies, and put them upstairs and put the queen under just like a screen that the queen can't get through. The spaces are 155 thousandths, and all the babies will hatch out upstairs and they'll bring the honey in there, and the queen will have a lot of room to lay down below. That prevents swarming, because if the bees swarm, there goes your honey crop. Bees is honey, honey is bees. In the fall time, you get ready to take the honey off and make sure they got enough groceries to do the winter. Well, the winter time is I wrap them, and there ain't nothing like a tree. It's got automatic insulation by rotten wood, and that's what I tried to emulate. And I wrapped the bees with styrofoam and felt paper to hold a little bit more heat.
Each one of these bundles here is what we use to wrap the bees up in the wintertime. I've got some taken apart over here. They consist of 4 pieces of a high density styrofoam and just an ordinary piece of tar paper. We wrap them around the beehive, and it simulates the bark of a tree, and it helps insulate them and helps them keep the moisture down and make it through the winter.
So I developed a line of bees. It took me almost 70 years to develop the line of bees, and I lost 100 swarms at once from the tricha and veramite, and I still feel they were introduced into this country. I lost hundreds of swarms of bees, but what I do, I get back up, but all of a sudden I will get wiped out again like I did last year. They came out with it, they called it the disappearing disease. Actually, the bees come in, all of a sudden you see them out in front of the hive, and just like they're drunk or crazy, but what they are is underdeveloped wings and stuff like that, this mite, the trachea mite, gets in the bee's throat. And under a fine electronic microscope, it just looks like a dark spot. And the veramite gets on the baby bees and sucks the baby bees, and that deforms the bee, and they just don't make it. They call it, and the bees disappear in front of your eyes. Well, it's been a wonderful ride. I enjoyed it. It's one of the nicest things that happened in my life, is keeping bees and teaching it. I love to teach it.
I think one of the most important things that my father has taught me about raising bees is handling them carefully. I watch a lot of other beekeepers and their bees, and they're wearing the big suits and gloves and everything else, and generally speaking, if you handle them carefully, I can work out there every day just like I'm dressed right now, just a t-shirt, long pants. The bees react to careful handling. One piece of equipment that's essential for a beekeeper is a smoker. And I use just rotten wood like this I have here on this piece of tar paper. It actually doesn't burst into flames, it's just a gentle smoke. It has a calming effect on the bees, and because of that I can usually work without even having to wear a bee suit. Okay, another piece of equipment that I find to be essential is the hive tool. In the 40 years that I've been in it, they've remained virtually unchanged. They've got a little nail puller here, a straight edge that works good for scraping a hive, a curved edge that works for scraping and for prying and removing the frames from the hive. So, absolutely an essential tool, even though I lose them all the time. I think what I enjoy most about working together with my dad is you're accomplishing something, you're learning something from him, and plus you're getting to spend time with him. And I think that spending time with your family is very precious, and I really enjoy doing that. One of my chores as a boy was to come down here each day and record the readings on this scale hive. This is a regular farm platform scale, and right now we're weighing just about 200 pounds. Each one of the readings we would take, and we have records of daily gains. Sometimes we would gain as much as 10 pounds in a single day. I think when you get older and you look back at how you spent your life and how you spent your time, I look back at the thousands of hours I spent working with my dad in the bees, whether it was on the ground or climbing up in a tree or building equipment during the winter. And I look back and I'm glad that I spent those hours doing all those things, and I got to spend that time with my dad. So if I had to do it all over again, that's what I'd do. I'd do it all over again. One of the ways a beekeeper replenishes his bee yard is by picking up swarms of bees. Normally we'll set up at either a tree or where they went into a building, and we'll take them out using a one-way escape. This is kind of unique because we were able to bring the actual tree home because the lumberjack had cut it and it was laying in the yard already cut. So we brought it home and we're doing the removing procedure here. Here you can see how we've built up a one-way bee escape. This allows the bees to come out through the funnel and go into the front of the hive. Because of the angle of the funnel, they cannot go back in. So eventually all of the bees will come out and they wander into this hive. The more bees that go in, they leave a little scent trail and more bees follow, and pretty soon they'll all go in there, and then this box will be empty. This tree will be empty and we'll split it in half and just use it for firewood.
Well, to see a family, good results of your family, that you didn't waste your life, and the nice things that happened to it, and it's succeeding in working out and making it work. It's just like anything else, you just keep on building on it, build it better and nicer.
It's been good, it's been challenging, it's been interesting, and I'm very glad that I've done it.
It's the love for it. I understand them, and I know what makes things work, and it's great to be a top man in your line, and that's what it is.